Hi, this is Frank for Walking for Health and Fitness. And in this week's weekly walking tips and inspiration show, we're up to number 3 already. We will cover our first inspirational quote is on safety. Our first walking tip is on walking safely on the road, and that's walk facing traffic. Our new feature, Eating Right, Recipes by Stacey. Our walking news is from a Harvard study on walking for exercise. I'll talk about today's background image. We have a feature of friends of the show, and this is an app called Walk the Distance. It's a very cool app, and stick around for the great story that I have behind this app. Our walking tips number 2, which is how to form healthy habits. Now, if you're new to walking and fitness, or if you just need a restart on this, on your fitness journey, I've got some great starter tips for you here. We'll have our inspirational quote number 2 from SOREN Kierkegaard, and I'll finish the show with your next step. So, on with the show. Inspirational walking quote number 1. Safety isn't expensive, it's priceless, and the author is unknown. And that leads me to the walking tip number 1. That's always walk facing traffic. Now, I received a comment on my last show by Justin. He asks about which direction we should face when we walk on the road. Let me say this. If you don't listen to anything else I say about walking, okay, please listen to this. Always walk facing traffic, okay? On the roads, you have distracted drivers, you have new drivers. You have so many trucks out on the road, which are really wide on a narrow road, okay? Whatever it is, you want to see it coming at you. God, I've seen so many people walking with their backs to traffic on the wrong side of the road. And the last thing I want is a truck flying by over my shoulder. So, having and facing traffic, you can take evasive action by just stepping to the left, giving the car a wider berth to get by. Now, here's the crazy thing in this age of COVID. I'll be walking on the correct side. I'm facing traffic, but someone will be coming towards me. They'll see me, they'll have a mask on, go to the other side of the road, which is the side of the road they should be walking on. So they're more concerned about me passing a COVID along to them than actually getting run down by a car or a truck. I mean, some of these landscaping trucks with the big trailers in the back, I mean, it's frightening when they go by you, even when I see them. Okay, so walk facing traffic, okay? Now, another thing you could do to build up good karma, okay? Any driver that you see kind of move over, to give you a wider berth, give them a wave, okay? Just wave hello. Just that you see them, they see you. Now, giving them a wave, give them a smile, builds up good karma. Again, if the good karma will help you in a tough situation, okay? So again, if you only take one piece of advice from anything I ever say, please make it this: walk facing traffic. So if you like what you see here, please consider subscribing. Click that subscription button. Also ring the bell to get notifications. The more subscribers, the more interaction with the show, comments and sharing. It gets the show out to a wider audience. I appreciate that. Facebook audience, a big shout out to Dr. Muchacha and his weekly show. Doc is a good friend of mine. Doc is a mentor, a former teacher of mine, and he's just been an inspiration to me. So check out Dr. Muchacha's channel. So in my soon-to-be-released walking program, there's a section on treating yourself right. Now, this leads to a new segment called Eating Right, Recipes by Stacey, or more specifically, she is pancakes_Stacey on Instagram. Now, today's recipe is arugula citrus salad and pecan pumpkin seed brittle with ginger vinaigrette. I asked Stacey for a comfort food recipe. Now, she replied, correctly I may add, that a salad has so much flavor, texture, and most importantly, fiber. She told me that good eating habits are still important, especially during the holidays, because we eat so much comfort food this time of the year. So that's why I walk, and Stacey is the food expert. So you walk to stay healthy. So enjoy this flavorful dish after your next walk. Make this awesome salad and treat yourself right. you can find pancakes_Stacey on Instagram. This recipe and the link to her page is in the show notes, which you can download from the description. Walking for exercise. Now, this information comes from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health article, and it's about the effectiveness of walking. Now, from the article, walking is a type of cardiovascular physical activity. It increases your heart rate, improves blood flow, and can lower blood pressure. Walking helps to boost energy levels by releasing certain hormones, like endorphins, and delivering oxygen throughout the body. Now, brisk walking is considered a moderate intensity, low impact workout that does not exert strain on joints, the hips, the knees, the ankles. Okay, these are susceptible to injury during higher impact workouts. Now, if you remember from my first show, I got into walking because of a back injury. Now, most likely caused from running, and there were some other factors involved. Now, people may think that walking is not as effective as higher impact workouts. Yet, a large cohort study of runners and walkers found that after 6 years of follow-up, when expending an equal amount of energy, moderate intensity walking offered similar benefits as higher intensity running in reducing the risk of blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes. Now, from my experience, walking significantly lowers the risk of injury. Now, in fact, I've had only one injury since I started walking several years ago. I rolled my ankle because I carelessly stepped into a pile of downed branches on the road after a storm. I still completed the walk, and it took just 2 days of self-care, self-treatment before I was back on the road walking again. So watch where you step. Now back to the study. The study found that the faster the walking pace, the greater the risk reduction observed. The 2018 Physical Activity Guidelines for Americans recommends that adults with chronic conditions do at least 2.5 to 5 hours of moderate intensity aerobic physical activity weekly. This breaks down to less than an hour a day. Walking is an exercise that meets this aerobic component and is associated with improving high blood pressure, body mass index, and lowering the risk of diabetes, stroke, and cardiovascular disease, and early death. Walking speed, duration, and frequency can be adjusted depending on one's starting fitness level, so that almost anyone can participate in a walking as exercise. Today's background image. It comes from my family vacation trip to Algonquin, Maine a few years ago. Now, this is on the Marginal Way, and that is a much-loved, fully paved public footpath that is 1.25 miles long. Hugging the Atlantic Ocean, it's one of the few oceanfront pedestrian thoroughfares of its kind in New England. It has been a fixture of Algonquin since 1925. My family spent several days in Algonquin and enjoyed walking the Marginal Trail a few times during our trip. The best part is at the end of the trail, there are restaurants and shops. In fact, I had one of the best lobster rolls I ever had after one of my walks. I had a great view. I sat on the deck on the back end of the restaurant overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. It was absolutely a gorgeous walk and a gorgeous day. So if you're looking for a great summer vacation travel destination, check out Algonquin, Maine and the Marginal Trails. Walk it, you'll love it. Now, I like to take pictures on the road when I'm walking. Objects, the different statues that people have on the lawns, whatever. And every issue of my quarterly newsletter, Walking Inspiration, contains 2 pages of my walking images. Okay, I call it Things I See on the Road. So, the newsletter is free for all email subscribers. Download it today. So let me talk a little bit about a friend of our show, and that is Walk the Distance. Now, I came across this app when I was contacted by the creator. He was looking for some input on virtual walks as I was nearing the end of my walk around the United States. Now, read my blog post about what I did for 16 years as I tracked my miles, first as a walker, then as a runner, on the roads around the perimeter of the United States. I would put these up in my classroom, the maps, my monthly totals, and I'd Photoshop myself at the various locations and then goof on my students. Okay, so the article goes more into that. It was a lot of fun. I finally finished it this past June of 2020. Now, I have no financial interest in recommending Walk the Distance. Okay, I just think it's an awesome idea. It took what I did on paper and maps and put it onto a phone. Now, the app calculates your walking mileage from your health app and tracks your walking progress on the Appalachian Trail. So you start at Springer Mountain in Georgia, you walk all the way up to Maine, to Mount Katahdin, Maine, the end of the Appalachian Trail. Walk the distance, tracks it's 2,193 miles, and breaks your walk up into segments state by state. Okay. Along the way, you get pictures of the Appalachian Trail, you get information about the trail, you get information on shelters, and you can make friends with its social component. Now, here's an amazing coincidence. Okay. In July of 2020, I finished my daily walk, and when I checked on my Walk the Distance app, I noticed I was in High Point, New Jersey, High Point State Park, which the Appalachian Trail runs through High Point State Park. I live about an hour from there. So the next day, I drove the hour up to High Point, parked my car at the monument, walked down a connecting trail to the AT. Then it was a little bit of a distance to an observation deck. So on the app, I was in the same place where I was in real life. So how often does virtual and reality come together? So on my blog, I have the whole story of this. All the links are in the description. It actually was pretty cool how it worked out. I sent John a picture of the High Point Monument from the deck. I'm hoping that he adds it to the app at some point. Now, I've currently just walked into Maine. I have 281 miles to finish my Appalachian Trail walk, which is pretty cool. So you can download Walk the Distance from the App Store, and John told me that the Android beta version is now available. Coming up in 2021, John has will release the Pacific Crest Trail, and soon I'll be walking or virtually walking out west and looking forward to the long challenge. So why don't you join me on that challenge? Give this app a try. You'll love it. Okay, walking tip number 2. Now, my goal with each show is to just advance the ball, so to speak, as if you're just starting out walking for health and fitness. So today's second tip, how to form healthy habits. Now, there are 5 steps to forming healthy habits, and I love using any kind of walking metaphor here. So, the steps coincide with the 5 steps, which will help you conquer the 10,000 steps. That seems to be all the rage right now with doing the 10,000 steps a day. So here's my 5 steps. 5 steps to forming healthy habits. Ask yourself what healthy means to you. A genuinely healthy habit should consistently boost your mood, your energy levels, and your desire to be involved in your own life and other people's lives. There should be a level of joy attached, not a feeling of responsibility, dread, or anxiety. Number 2, find your purpose. What's your why? Find a long-term sustainable inspiration. In the show notes, see my 3-part YouTube series on What's Your Why? 3, start with small, simple habits. Okay? Now, rather than committing to walking 6 miles every day, try this. After breakfast or any other time during the day that's convenient, commit to taking a 15-minute walk around the neighborhood. Start there. Start simple. When you start doing this consistently, trust me, you'll be looking forward to spending more time walking. In my first show, I talked about having a get out the door routine. Okay, so develop your routine to get out the door and begin the healthy habit of walking. Now, habit number 4, try to focus on soft things. When feeling unmotivated, try focusing on these soft things like gratitude, helping others, and social connections, which are so important in this time of COVID. 5, be patient and show yourself compassion. Now, most people have heard that forming and cementing a habit takes 21 days. And when people don't end up achieving that, they feel discouraged. Now, studies are beginning to show that it could take up to 10 weeks of repetitive behavior for a habit to stick. So, be patient. Now, along with patience, you also need to maintain compassion for yourself. Okay, now focus on these 3 things. 1, celebrate your accomplishments. Okay, if you've made it out the door 5 days in a row, hey, that's a great accomplishment, especially if you're just starting out. 2, compliment yourself every day. Have some positive affirmations going on. I have some music videos with positive affirmations on it. Check out my YouTube channel for those. Number 3, and this is a biggie, forgive yourself. Now, the late Dr. Wayne Dyer put it perfectly. We are called on to forgive ourselves, to honor what is past, to love and respect it. Look back and say, that's what I needed to do. That's the person I needed to be at that time in my life. I did that and I've learned from it. Now I can move on, or in our case, walk on. Now, with all the great health benefits your new walking lifestyle will bring to you, you're going to be around for a long time. So be easy on yourself. Be good to yourself, celebrate your accomplishments, compliment yourself, forgive yourself, and keep on walking. Inspirational quote number 2. Above all, do not lose your desire to walk. Every day, I walk myself into a state of well-being and walk away from every illness. I have walked myself into my best thoughts, and I know of no thought so burdensome that one cannot walk away from it, by SOREN Kierkegaard. And let's end the show with your next step. So, safety first, always walk facing traffic. 2, always walk facing traffic. Yes, I know I repeated myself, but it's that important. 3, treat yourself right by making healthy food choices. Enjoy Stacey's salad recipe. 4, check out the Walk the Distance app. And 5, develop your healthy habit today. Start with the 5 steps to forming healthy habits. Now, all the links are in the show notes. Download them for yourselves. This is Frank for Walking for Health and Fitness. Walk on.